Oh. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here. Welcome back to another day of more football here in the World Cup 2018. Today we saw the fifth round of 16 match between Brazil and Mexico, in which Brazil managed to win 2-0 against the Mexicans, and it just simply was too much for Mexico to handle. I gotta say that even though Mexico was getting a lot of hype into this game, I thought that last result against Sweden, where they lost 3-0, really had a lot to do with their motivation and how they felt mentally coming into this one. Because in some moments of the game, the passes, the string, the rhythm of the game that Mexico was putting into the game just wasn't enough for Brazil. And Brazil is just a team who are never gonna lose cool, a team which always thinks they're above you, and a team which acts like they're above you. You could see how the passes, how confident they were on the ball, how confident they were in like the 86th minute with only one goal to spare, and they were just superior. I gotta say, overall, Brazil really surprised me how little under pressure they were. In some cases, obviously, Mexico had a lot of good chances in some cases, but I think that the decision making for Mexico was really, really weak. And by the end of the game, you could just see that those initial chances that they didn't take really hurt them in the long run. And yeah, really, Brazil are probably the main candidates now, because we saw a very good performance from Neymar and an overall collective performance, which was also very, very impressive. And Brazil, I think now, even though they're through the hardest part of the tournament tree, they have more than enough to beat every single team in that one. I think that if they perform like they did today, I think that they have enough confidence in them. They have enough to push them onwards to the final. But let's talk about currently this game. I gotta say that for the very first 15 minutes, Mexico... No, for the first actual, I think like 20 minutes, Mexico were like really into the game. They were really pressuring high Brazil, and Brazil couldn't get out. Probably the best part of the game was for that Mexico, and Mexico was just pummeling through the players, and they were really getting into the box. They had a lot of chances, but like I said, they shot actually to the goal like 4 or 5 times, I think, in that initial 20 minutes, and Brazil only shot once. So you could see how big the margin was at the start of the game for Mexico. Mexico were having the upper hand in that game. I think that the most important thing that they did was obviously pressure inside people like Coutinho and people like Casemiro, in which the ball couldn't drift wide, and they never really connected Brazil between their left through their defense all the way to attack. Because normally you're gonna have people like Dani Alves, Marcelo, who are able to have that attack and push them completely through the defense all the way to attack. But in this case, they have Felipe Luis, which is a more defensive-minded left back, and Wagner may be a little bit attacking. Don't know too much about him, but he's certainly not any Dani Alves who knows how to create plays out of nothing. So in that sense, what Mexico did was really, really key, was really on point, and we gotta give them credit where it's due, because they really pressured Brazil at those very start minutes. And I got a little bit nervous because Brazil never could push out of that, and I was thinking, how are they gonna do that? But as soon as they had one chance at a counterattack, they scared Mexico, and Mexico just decided to sit back and try to defend Brazil. And I think that they gave up their best moment in the game. They gave up that chance to keep continuing that pressure. Obviously, against a team like Germany, which Germany values having the ball a little bit more than someone like Mexico than Brazil does, I gotta say that they look a little bit more exhausted in this one. It seems like the pressure didn't last as much as they did against Germany, but at the end of the day, Mexico just lost it. Like, they lost it. They sit back. They trying to defend Brazil in this one, and they just got overwhelmed. They got overwhelmed, and then Mexico lost the best moment in the entire game. They lost it really early. And I think that's where they lost the game. So one of you guys say, P. Donato says, I agree. I thought it was Mexico's years. Brazil won it fair and square. Brazil was too much. They will win the World Cup. Yeah, exactly. Brazil were too much. They were always concentrated in the game. You could see like how Thiago Silva did a back heel within the box to clear it out from a corner kick. Like, that's how much confidence they were. Like, people say like, oh, Neymar does tricks and does whatever, but Mexico were really, really dirty in some cases. They wanted really to just, like, Brazil did more than enough to just deserve that. They were like Mexico were like stepping on Neymar. They were trying to foul Coutinho, and they just kept on going. They just kept flowing with the game. They didn't care, and they were just too much. They were just too much. I think Brazil this year will win the World Cup. I agree with you. You also ask, the question is, should Osorio continue? I gotta say that, for example, let me tell you something. Before the World Cup, once Mexico had that party with like the prostitutes or whatever, or I don't know, that they say they have like an orgy. I don't know, but they say that. Okay, when that happened, I thought Osorio really lost the dressing room. In qualifiers, Osorio was really changed formations all the time, and I didn't agree with Osorio. But now, when Osorio went to the World Cup and beat Germany and beat South Korea, I thought that he had something in the dressing room. He had that vocal, that speech, that really good way of motivating the players, and I was really surprised with that. So I take my hat off for Osorio, because Osorio did actually very, very good to try and shift that bad mentality that surrounded the Mexico team into a positive-minded one. And I gotta say that in that sense, I think he's really good at doing that. But at the end of the day, I think that he shouldn't continue, because the consequences of losing that game against Sweden are going to really pummel up in the next few days. They're going to really hit him in the media really hard, I think. I think that they're really going to try to impose what kind of substitutions he is in this game, because he made all 3 substitutions before the 65th minute. That means something is wrong with your team, and that means something that you could have fixed before the game even started. So it means that he made a mistake before the initial whistle was being blown. And in that sense, I gotta say that it's probably kind of a blame for the manager as well. Like, I think that Jonathan Dos Santos could have been so much better from the start, trying to get the ball a little bit closer and keep that momentum for the very first 20 minutes, keep them going, and not just lose the ball right away. Like, in my case, you don't need someone like Rafa Marquez, because you don't need somebody to cut down. You don't really need somebody to cut down. What you need is to close the spaces for Brazil. And Rafa Marquez can cut players down, but he's not as fast. He's not as mobile. Someone like Coutinho, William, Neymar are going to easily go through him. Makes absolutely no sense. I would have put actually Guardado as a CDM. I would have put Héctor Herrera, or have Héctor Herrera as a CDM, Guardado up a little bit front, and have Jonathan Dos Santos. For me, Rafa Marquez shouldn't have started. But anybody can have their opinion. So in that sense, I think there's some things you can blame the manager for, and at the end of the day, the manager is the easiest things to get rid of. And if you want to start fresh, then the manager will probably need to leave. And okay, that's me answering your question, but I want to continue on with the match as well, because I gotta say that Mexico did a very good job to try and push all the way to the halftime by having a 0-0 result, because even though Brazil had the control of the game, they never really could penetrate Mexico as good as they might have wanted to, because Mexico put a very good solid defense, somewhat that we see very similar against teams like Germany. And in that sense, I gotta say that Mexico were really strong. I've been really surprised how Mexico were defensively this year, because and how effective they were in the counterattacks, because normally I would associate Mexico with a team of more playing for the midfield, but in this case they were really fast in transitioning, and that's something that Mexico did very, very well. Something that, for instance, team like Argentina were lacking. Argentina lost because their transition was really, really slow, but Mexico had it that on point. But Brazil were really just pummeling in. You could see people like Casemiro, Paulinho having a field day, and when the second half arrived, we just saw that goal from Neymar, which did a back heel onto Gabriel Jesus, and I think onto William, and William just passed it all the way to Neymar. Neymar scores, and that's just football. That's just beautiful football, and in that you can't really blame Mexico for nothing, because a back heel, William, and then Neymar, it was like, it's beautiful, and at the end of the day, I think it was too much. And continuing with that, what happened next? Well, it was basically more of the same. I gotta say, at some moments, Mexico got back into the game. They had a little bit more chances. They really pummeled Brazil into their own half, especially after that step on Layun when Neymar got out of the pitch. So Brazil were with 10 men. And with 10 men, I gotta say, Mexico had that chance. But you can see it was with 10 men. But as soon as Neymar got back into the game, he just cruised the game, basically, and granted them the final goal, obviously, at the 90th minute. Like, you could see the 86th minute coming up, and Mexico were not, like, desperate, or Brazil wasn't desperate. It's like, I don't know what happened. Mexico should have tried to go more with it, because they were so scared of conceding another one. But you're getting out of the World Cup. You should just go all, everything. Push your goalkeeper, push everyone to try and get that goal. And they didn't, and I think they needed that extra little bit of push. They just looked defeated, and I don't like that, but that's what happened. Well, maybe he should start Peralta instead of Chicharito? What do you think? I think that Chicharito looked really, really bad. I think that Chicharito, you could see that he had something. You could see he was like kind of hurt by something, like an injury or something. He wasn't at his best. He really wasn't at his best. And in that thing, I gotta say that perhaps Peralta could have been a better option. But I don't know. I don't know too much about Mexico football. But I am asking you now. I wanted to ask you now. What do you think about which for you guys is a striker who's gonna run the most? I mean, who's gonna be that guy who's gonna really, really run miles? That striker who's gonna run a lot for you and really come back, defend, and doing that. Because someone like, for instance, Roberto Firmino is a striker who runs a lot, who defends a lot. Who's that guy for you? Because every team has one. Like Raúl Jiménez, is he that player? I don't think so. Chicharito, maybe, and and Peralta, I don't know. But I think you needed someone like that. And if not, you should have tried and put, for instance, Chucky Lozano is that. Chucky Lozano will go back and defend for you. So why not perhaps just go without a striker? Add another midfielder for you guys that are certainly gonna have a little bit more of a cutting edge, a more defensive midfielder, but not like Rafa Marquez. Somebody more of like I don't know, who could it be? Let me just think for Mexican players. Another center mid would have been perhaps a good option for you guys. What about somebody like Eric Gutierrez? I don't know too much. Eric Gutierrez could have been Dueñas, but I don't know if he was even called up for the World Cup. Or even remain with Rafa Marquez, but just have that extra, like I said, Jonathan Dos Santos in the side. Have that extra player who's going to cover you. Because I think that the main thing for Mexico was obviously that counterattack. Was obviously trying to get that fast play in transition. And for that, you don't necessarily need a striker. I think that Chucky Lozano and Carlos Vaca and Carlitos Val and Carlitos Vela would have been more than enough. So I don't know. That's the thing. Like, games like this are really hard to speak about, obviously after the game finished. But that's what I would have done. I would have done, because obviously you know you're inferior against Brazil. You cannot play the same way you're gonna play. Like, you cannot play. It's gonna be really hard to play at the same level as Brazil. You need to really give them a really good game and to beat Brazil, and you have to make a perfect game. And in this one, I think the formation and some players weren't good selected. Giovanni could have been a good option. You're right, Giovanni Dos Santos, good option in that one. So yeah, I gotta say that overall it looks like Mexico are out once again at the round of 16. What's been now, like 30 something years? It's tough, to be honest with you. I believe the best option they had was in 2002 when they had Estados Unidos, when they had the United States. But to be honest, they've been quite unlucky. Germany, Netherlands, Brazil. But it all comes down to that group against Sweden. Like, I think that's where they really flopped. That's where really they went bad. If they wanted to continue that form, I think that they need to blame and really single-handedly point at that game against Sweden, because that game cost them probably an amazing World Cup. Imagine Mexico played against Switzerland now. Mexico would go most probably to the quarterfinals, and more probably could have gone on to the semifinals and even the final. Who knows? So it's just that thing, that one game that fucks you up. And even with Peru, like, I'm from Peru, and if you say, like, if Peru would have won that game against Denmark, everything would have changed. But we cannot think about the past. We cannot feel pain for what has never happened. So we must continue in real life. And right now, Brazil, I gotta say that, are probably the candidates for the World Cup now. They really could be the candidates for the World Cup. Here's Neymar talking, but I'm not gonna put it on. But yeah, so anything else you want to ask me? I want to now take a look at the stats of this game to see if anything I can give you guys in a little bit more of information and in-depth onto what happened today. Because I gotta say, there's really not too much to talk about, because the game was obviously all Brazil. Really just 20 minutes from Mexico. And nothing really after that happened. For instance, I think that Layun should have come so much earlier. I think that Layun would have given them so much more from the start. and they didn't. Like, I don't know what. There were so many mistakes I think Osorio made that it's just could have been the blame for them, because the players play good. Let's be honest. El Chucky, Vela, Guardado, Herrera, they had a really good game, all of them. But I think they didn't took the game in the right direction, and I think that's where they lost it. To be honest. So hopefully, guys, you have enjoyed. Thank you very much, P. Donato, once again for your support. It's obviously great having you here. So hopefully you have all liked the channel. Please remember to drop us a like, do us a subscribe, do all that stuff, and come back here in 3 hours time to watch Belgium versus Japan and my live reaction of that as well. So basically, just see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao. How was Firmino's goal? I missed it. Greetings from France. Oh, okay. Right away before leaving, I almost leave you, but the Firmino goal was a counter-attack from. It was a mistake from one of the Mexican players, and it just left them completely. And Neymar had an open field. Neymar really just run, had an open space, really open space. And then he just crossed it all over into Firmino. It was basically the same as the first goal, only that Neymar was the one passing the ball, and there was actually a lot more space between him and the goalkeeper. So in that chance, Neymar just went all the way, crossed it to Firmino, and Firmino got into it in the last minute. So good. Greetings from France. It's great having people from all over around the world. And hopefully you enjoy Hakos. And Hakos, I encourage you, this live stream is almost over now, but I encourage you to come back in 3 hours time to watch our reaction of Belgium versus Japan. If you like football, I know you're gonna be here. So great having you, and now I'm really leaving. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.